this meeting of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District for Wednesday, January 11th, 2017. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll and establish the quorum?
Good morning. Director Ashby. Bruins.
Present.
Carr.
Here.
Frost.
Here.
Guerra.
Here.
Hanson. Harris. Hume. Kennedy. Lee.
Here.
Morin. Nottoli. Peters.
Here.
Orozco.
Here.
Skoglin.
Aye.
Villegas.
Here.
And Chair Serna.
Here.
You have a quorum. This meeting of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation and Sacramento Area Sewer District is being broadcast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and the AT&T U-verse cable systems. The meeting is closed captioned for our hearing impaired viewers and webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will replay on Sunday, January 15th at 6 p.m. In accordance with Government Code 54952.3, compensation for the meeting of these legislative bodies is required to be verbally disclosed. The amount of $100 will be paid for each member participating today as a member of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District, and the amount of $100 will be paid for each board member participating today as a member of the Sacramento Area Sewer District. Compensation for Sacramento's county supervisors and the City of Sacramento council members is paid to the county and city respectively to partially offset the costs of those governments. Compensation for other boards members is delivered to the individuals. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker identification form located at the podium and hand it to the clerk. Please speak into the microphone when addressing the board and state your name for the record. And at this time, please silence all cell phones and electronic devices.
Thank you. Vice Chair Carr, will you please do us the honor of leading us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Well, first of all, Happy New Year to all our directors and staff. Again, I want to welcome everyone to this morning's Regional SAN board meeting, and especially like to welcome Director Orozco. This is her first meeting here for the sewer district, so welcome.
Thank you.
Again, anyone that wishes to address this board is certainly welcome to do so on any item that is on the agenda. They are also welcome to address the board on any item that is not posted. We do ask that you please complete a speaker slip, give it to our clerk, and you will be called in the order that the slip is received. We do have a 3-minute speaking limit in place, and the reason for that is so that everyone has an opportunity to address this board if they so choose. So with that, we'll take our first item.
Your first item is the election of chair and vice chair of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District and the Sacramento Area Sewer District boards.
Okay.
And I'll just quickly go over kind of how this works. It's information that is in your packet, but this is an annual election. We alternate between a city member and a county member as the chair. It's a 2-year commitment to come in as the vice chair, and then in the second year become the chair. And currently our vice chair is Larry Carr from the city, and so the new person that you'll need to elect will be from the county, would be a county supervisor. And just a reminder that we'll need 2 motions, one for each district.
Okay, very good. With that, I'd like to entertain a nomination for chair.
I'd move Larry Carr. Second.
Okay, it's been moved that Larry Carr from the City of Sacramento serve as our 2017 chair by Director Peters, seconded by Director Bruins. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Congratulations, Larry.
Thank you.
I also move that he chair Sacramento Sewer District.
Okay, it's been moved by Director Bruins that Director Carr chair SASD for 2017. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Peters. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Again, congratulations.
Again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to switch seats at this point? And then you can run the rest of the meeting, and I will remind you that we're going to have to nominate for vice chair. Thank you. I guess we can just go over here.
The switching of the name tags.
Now you're in solid.
Hey, I won an election, no yard signs or anything. Okay, the next item on the agenda is selection of a vice chair. As Christoph reported, we have a custom of switching between the city and the county, and with the vice chair becoming the chair the next year, the floor is open for nominations.
I'd move Patrick Kennedy.
I'll second.
Any other nominees? Seeing none, it's been moved that Patrick Kennedy, because he's not here, become the chair, the vice chair. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Abstentions? The motion carries. Does that count for both? We need a
I
second.
will also move it for SASD.
Second.
Second.
Any other nominees? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Abstentions? The motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Kennedy. You'll come to the next meeting, won't you? Next item, please.
Acting as your Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District and the Sacramento Area District, you have your miscellaneous director and district engineer matters.
And I just have one item. Just wanted to say that our next meeting on January 25th, we're going to cancel. There's only a few items, nothing that's critical, so we're going to cancel January 25th, and then our next meeting would be on February 8th.
Any discussion? Anyone need more meetings? No? Seeing that? I think we're in agreement that that's fine, Christoph.
Works for you? Okay.
Would you call the next item?
Your next item is your district consent matters, items 3 through 4.
I'll move the consent calendar.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to pass the consent calendar. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Abstentions? The motion carries. I have no cards for public comments, so we'll move on to the next item.
Your item number 6, still acting as your Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District, you have your South Sacramento County Agriculture and Habitat Lands Recycle Water Program update.
And our presenter today will be Jose Ramirez. He's the project and program manager.
May I have the PowerPoints already up? Happy New Year. My name is Jose Ramirez. I work with Regional San as a senior civil engineer. Today I will be giving a status update on the South County Ag program. The presentation includes a brief background about the program. It provides a status on the ongoing activities that we have and outlines the next steps for implementation for the program. Just to give you a little bit of history, some of you are new to this board. So back in 2004, your board adopted a goal to recycle up to 30 to 40 million gallons per day of recycled water by the year 2024. In 2007, Regional San completed a water recycling opportunities study that evaluated target areas and potential recycled water projects throughout the Sacramento region. The South County Ag program is the most cost-effective and most promising project identified in that study. In 2014, we completed a Title 16 feasibility study in collaboration with the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, or Reclamation. Title 16 is a program administered by Reclamation and provides funding for recycled water projects. In 2015, we also completed a draft facilities plan report that provided enough information to develop the initial funding applications, the permit applications, and the ability to prepare the environmental documentation needed for the program. The concept for South County Ag is to convey recycled water service from the Sacramento Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant to the place of use area that is highlighted in blue on this map. The place of use area is located south of the city of Elk Grove, between Highway 99 and I-5. The recycled water will be used to irrigate up to 16,000 acres of farmland and habitat mitigation lands. This project alone will allow Regional San to reach its goal for a large-scale water recycling program, because it will be providing up to about 75 million gallons per day. The program will offer multiple benefits to the farmers. It will supply a sustainable water supply for agriculture, and will be able to help to reduce some of their maintenance costs, like groundwater pumping and fertilizer use. For the region, it will provide a new water supply. It will help to restore groundwater elevations in the central basin of the county. For regional sand, again, it will allow regional sand to reach its goal for a large-scale water recycling program, and it will help us to provide an effluent management option by reducing the amount of effluent that we discharge into the Sacramento River. By raising groundwater elevations within the South County Ag program area, our modeling predicts that we will be able to restore flows along the lower reach of the Cosumnes River. This will provide environmental benefits to the riparian vegetation in the area and to the habitat as well. These are just some of the benefits that I want to highlight, but there are a lot more that the project can provide.
If I might just add, you don't need to increase the flows in the Cosumnes River right now, so we're doing just fine.
I was thinking about it as who wants to talk about recycled water today?
No, I know.
Just after the major storm came in through Sacramento. That happens to be me today. My luck. So a program of this size requires a lot of coordination and collaboration. We have been very active at the local, regional, state, and federal levels. This slide highlights some of the agencies that we have been coordinating with. At the local level, our key stakeholder is the end user, the farmers. We also developed a stakeholder advisory group that consists of farmers and members of the Sacramento County Farm Bureau. That advisory group serves as the liaison between regional sand and the farmers and provides input during the development of the program. At the regional level, we included the South County Ag program in the American River Integrated Regional Water Management Plan, which is managed by the Regional Water Authority. And at the state level, we have to get a couple of approvals from the state and also state funding. So we are working with the State Water Board, the Department of Water Resources, and the Regional Water Quality Control Board. At the federal level, our partner is the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. And our staff is also very active working with our congressional delegation, in particular Congresswoman Matsui, to help support this program. We have prepared an environmental impact report to comply with the state requirements. The draft EIR, or Environmental Impact Report, was published for public review in July of last year. We are in the process of finalizing the final EIR and plan to come back to your board next month to ask for approval to certify the final EIR. After the EIR has been completed, we will begin working on the Environmental Impact Statement, the EIS. The EIS will comply with the federal requirements. Completion of the EIS is a prerequisite to get federal funding. We estimate that the EIS will probably be completed in late 2017. Because regional sand is going to reduce the amount of effluent that we discharge into the Sacramento River and put it to beneficial use in the South County Ag program area or place of use area, we had to file a petition for change with the State Water Board to seek authorization to do so. The petition was filed in August of last year, and the following month, in September, we got a total of 5 protest letters that were filed against the petition. Now, getting something filed against your petition is part of the normal process. We went through this process back in the late 1990s when we first applied to get a petition to recycle up to 10 million gallons per day in the Elk Grove area. So we have gone through this process, and we were expecting someone to file a protest against the petition, and it did happen. So at the moment, we are working with the 5 protestants to try to resolve the protest by March of 2017. If we are not able to resolve the protest, then the State Water Board may require us to go through a hearing process, which could take anywhere from 4 months up to 2 years to complete. The place of use area for South Cognac is outside of the regional sand service area, as you may be able to see in attachment A of your board packet for this item. There's not within the place of use area, there's not a local water purveyor, sewer service provider, or irrigation district. So regional sand, we have been talking to the farmers, to the stakeholders, about different options to provide recycled water service to them. And we identified and evaluated 7 potential governance alternatives. Out of those 7, based on the input from the stakeholders, we narrowed it down to 3. Of the 3 remaining alternatives, on the first one, regional sand will annex the place of use area into regional sand, but we will provide recycled water service only. This process will have to get approved by LAFCO, and it could take up to a year to complete. In the second alternative, there is no annexation, but regional sand will have to enter into direct contract with the end user of the recycled water. So we could have anywhere from 40 up to 100 contracts, which is with each individual farmer. And the third alternative remaining is a hybrid of the first 2. We will go through the annexation process, and then we could enter into contract with some of the farmers. The use of recycled water will be new for the farmers. They're using groundwater right now. So they have concerns about recycled water. For example, is the recycled water going to be safe and reliable? What is the cost going to be for the recycled water? Is it going to be cost competitive with what they are paying right now, which is basically for groundwater pumping? They also want to make sure that once we are providing recycled water service to them, that regional sand will continue to provide service, and we will not close the valve. So if there is a drought, they want to make sure that we will continue to provide service to them. They want market assurances. Now, by helping to restore the groundwater elevations in the area, we are going to be able to provide groundwater banking or storage opportunities. The farmers understand that, and they have concerns about, well, who's going to own that water? How much water could be extracted? So those are some of the issues that we continue to work with them as we develop the program. On the governance option, they want to make sure that they have representation on whatever board is developed. They also have concerns about the potential imposition of new fees in that area. But ultimately, they want to make sure that whatever institutional framework we develop, they want to make sure that it's acceptable to them. The estimated capital cost for the program is about $235 million. It's not a small price tag at all. Staff is very active pursuing state and federal funding to offset
Excuse me a second, Don wants to comment.
Yep. Just a question back to the last slide, and you can finish your presentation if you want, but going back to the governance and everything that's happening with groundwater and governance and in that respect, both under new state statutes, but certainly the discussions are going on in this county. And again, we haven't touched much in the past about kind of the governance and the structure and the hybrid of annexation versus user agreements and/or combination of both. But I think it's going to be very important because we're now in the formative stages of discussions on the groundwater sustainability entities and management entities. And there's some deadlines by 2021 that certain things happen. But if there's going to be reliance on banking and then extraction, obviously, and any rules might be imposed, I do think it's going to be very imperative that this district, talking with obviously, not only your elected board here, but with other entities that do provide some oversight, and certainly our county water resources being a part of that, but there are other entities, irrigation and water districts up and down the Casumas, and certainly we've got some contests relative to who's going to have say over what in areas east of 99, Highway 99. So I guess, I don't know where we are in that whole context, and I don't mean to muddy your presentation, but I do think that that's going to be very, very important, and we need to be on the ground floor if we're going to become a part of that, because there's other activity going on that may be parallel and or be sequential with what we're doing here. So.
Yes. That's a very good point. Sigma is making projects like this even more important for the region.
Yes.
Regional SAN, we do have a seat at the board of the Sacramento Central Groundwater Authority, SCGA, who manages the Central Basin. This project is in the Central Basin. We have been advocating SCGA to develop a groundwater banking program for the Central Basin. So we are working with them, trying to develop a groundwater banking program that will work for the Central Basin, but also that will take into account South Cognac and how South Cognac fits into the Central Basin.
Okay, I think it would be important for, at some juncture, because I know we're getting regular reports, the Board of Supervisors is from the county water resources relative to certainly our engagement in Central Groundwater entity, but just because I think of some of the things that are rolling out on that, and recognizing that the district here has been a part of those conversations and advocating for a program. It still comes back to governance, though, because that's part of the contest right now. The differences is about who's going to govern what and who's going to make those decisions, and and I want to. I guess my bottom line would say I would want that we would have the say-so over what happens, we being folks in this county, and that it doesn't somehow default to state or federal agencies, or state agency, I guess, to make determinations not only about groundwater oversight, but certainly how we tailor things to fit the needs of residents and, and property owners, whether it's in the district boundaries, this district's boundaries, or within boundaries of the county or some other districts. So again, I don't know how all those pieces fit together, and this morning's not the time to have that conversation, but I just think that's going to be a key piece of this, and I appreciate you pointing it out, because as your outreach has probably demonstrated, there's some skepticism about government's role already, and what we do or don't do. But secondly, if we have to meet the mandates of the law, which we will, then we have other laws that govern us as a water quality agency. I would just encourage us to make sure that you keep this board informed, but certainly other entities, whether it's the City of Elk Grove Council, this body, and or the Board of Supervisors. So
yeah, definitely. As we continue to work with SCGA on the development of Sigma for the Central Basin and the groundwater banking program, we can certainly come to your board and give you an update on where we are.
And not just SCGA, though, because again, they are an entity, and certainly the county is a part of that too. But I think there's areas that aren't necessarily a part of SCGA, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe the entirety of what you're proposing is in there, but I don't think those boundaries are totally coterminous. Isn't there some areas that lie outside of SCGA that would be served under this program?
Most of the place of use area for South Cognac is within the SCGA boundaries.
Most of it is, but not all.
Not all of it. No.
So there's some in the unincorporated area or unorganized areas. So.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Before you continue, one more question.
Hi. There we go. My question is in reference to the customer concerns as they relate to protest letters. Are these the concerns that are addressed in the protest letters, or are they different issues?
So you're talking about the petition for change and the protest letters? That's the question?
Yeah, the protest letters, do they reflect?
So the protest letters, if I can summarize it, they revolve around two items. Number one is water rights. Who owns the effluent that we discharge? That's one. Number two relates to the potential effluent, potential impact from the reduction in effluent into the Sacramento River.
Okay.
The environmental impact report that we have prepared addresses the environmental impacts to the Sacramento River.
Okay.
And with the help from legal counsel, we are addressing the second piece that relates to water rights at this moment.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments?
Okay. So back to state and federal funding. We are pursuing a couple of good funding opportunities from the state. The first one is from the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. We are in the process of submitting an application to the state for that opportunity. The state is also, through the California Water Commission, developing the guidelines for the Water Storage Investment Program. The Water Storage Investment Program could provide up to 50% funding in terms of grants for this program. But they have not yet finished all the guidelines. They expect to complete them within the next month or so. We will come back to your board in the near future asking for approval to submit an application to the Water Storage Investment Program. That may require doing an amendment to an existing contract that we have to get resources to help us put together the application. And at the federal level, we continue to work with the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation to pursue Title 16 funding. So what are the next steps for the program? First one is to complete and finalize the environmental impact report. So we anticipate coming back to your board next month to ask for approval. Another step is to negotiate and resolve the issues on the petition for change. Once we have finalized the EIR, we will begin working on the environmental impact statement to comply with the federal requirements. We will also continue to pursue state and federal funding and to work with the farmers to get their input, especially on the development of the institutional and governance frameworks for the project. Once we have completed the final EIR and received the approval for the petition for change, our plan is to come back to your board and ask for approval to move into the next phase of implementation, which is the design phase. So design could begin in 2018. That is the timeline that we are looking at this moment. That concludes my presentation. If you have any further questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions, comments? Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ramirez. Appreciate it. Let's call the next item.
Your next item is your Echo Water Project Quarterly Report.
Have the presentation for item 7, please. Good morning. I'm Vic Chiotani. I'm the program manager for the Echo Water Project, and I'd like to provide some highlights from the quarterly report. Give you an overview of the schedule and the progress to date, some financial information, and then we'll talk about some of the latest updates, challenges, and milestones for the program. This is a summary of the program schedule. The bars in green are the planning and design phases. The bars in blue and purple are the construction and commissioning phases. So we've recently completed 3 projects at the end of this quarter. That leaves 4 projects currently under construction. Completed projects to date account for about $50 million of construction cost. The 4 projects under construction account for about $600 million in construction cost. You can also see that we are still in the design phase for several of the projects. One of those projects is the tertiary treatment facilities project, which is the key project needed to meet our second compliance milestone in May of 2023. This graph shows the Echo Water project cost projections. The darker colors are actual expended dollars. The lighter colors are projected program cost. The blue bars represent the construction cost only, and the red bars represent what we call soft costs, which are all the other costs except construction. So this graph can give you an idea of soft costs versus the hard construction cost. One thing to note from this graph, though, you can see a slight decline in program expenditures. That's through this winter period, which is typical for winter, especially this winter. But you also see a steep increase in our program expenditures, and that's with the BNR and remaining construction projects becoming more active during the drier months. And then you'll see peaks toward the latter part of 2018. That's when the tertiary treatment facility project will start construction. And so this program will be within its peak expenditures during that period. This graph shows the projected versus actual expenditures. The areas in orange are projected or budgeted cost. The green bars are the actual program expenditures. So you can see we continue to track below our budgeted cost. So just some general program updates. As I mentioned, we've recently completed 3 construction contracts, and 4 are currently in progress. We are still have some design projects on board. Those are mainly to support the BNR facility, the BNR project, and also the tertiary treatment facilities. We've been able to meet our existing plant permit, discharge permit, even with all the construction activities that are requiring some major process diversion and shutdowns for the tie-ins. But it has been very challenging, and the recent wet weather has also caused us to do some temporary activities in the construction areas so that we can maintain plant operations. And I can talk a little bit more detail with some of the slides of the pictures that will show, give a good idea of some of the temporary mitigation measures we've been taking. Program safety has been well within industry standards. We've logged over 425,000 hours worked. We've experienced 4 lost time injuries. From the funding perspective, we've received over $150 million in state revolving fund reimbursement payments to date. So I'll get into some of the photos from some of the construction. You'll probably want to watch on your screen. Some of these slides are layered. This is an aerial of the project site in September of 2016. This aerial was recently flown at the end of December, and I can flip back. Let me see if I can find the arrow there a little bit. So going back, this is September 16. So what you'll see in the last 3 months, the additional lining in the flow equalization basins in this area through here, and then also the work, that underground work in the biological nutrient removal project. So that's the big project needed to meet our first compliance date. A little bit close-up of the flow equalization project, showing the progression of the lining in the basins. This project has probably suffered the most from the recent storms in December and what we just experienced over the last few weeks. It's a picture of a inlet-outlet structure in between the basins. You can see the size of this project with some of the equipment in there. This is a spillway construction that goes between the basins. And this picture I wanted to bring to your attention. This shows some of the mitigation measures we had to do to ensure continuing plant operations. These are storage basins that we use to shave peak flows into the plant. So we get more flows in than we can treat and put discharge to the river. So we peak shave into these basins, but we're also constructing these basins and putting in liners. So these are actively under construction. So what we had done to mitigate some of the peak shaving we needed, we installed this cofferdam right here across one of the basins. And this protected the work going on in this area here. And actually, there's a low spot here that if we topped all of those basins full of flow that we couldn't treat, would have gone into the biological nutrient removal project and caused extensive damage to the construction. So we had this temporary cofferdam installed, which allows us to store in basin, the first basin A you see on the left, and as well as the basin on the foreground of this picture. So these are some of the things that we're having to do within the construction to maintain our plant operations. This is a picture of a tie-in to our existing outfall. This is an active 102-inch diameter outfall. I think previous updates showed a large pit and the pipes. They're now constructing the vault around that pit. Those walls are almost 30 feet tall. A return activated sludge project. This is a project that was started probably about 6 months ago. This project is totally in the middle of our existing process. These are existing treatment tanks. They're about 120-foot diameter each. We're replacing each of the pumps associated with those tanks. There's 48 tanks. 48 pumps in total, along with the motors and electrical equipment.
Only Elk Grove.
So one of the interesting things about this project is, for a cost savings measure, we decided to use existing what we call pump cans. So the pumps are vertical and they sit in cans that are right next to those tanks. What we found out during the design, that there was not a manufacturer that made a pump that would fit in those cans that met our operating requirements. So we worked with the vendor, and they developed these slim profiled prototype pumps. We had them delivered on site, and we tested them on site, and they were successfully tested. So again, a very good cost savings measures. To have to putting a new pump station would be extremely expensive.
We have a question.
So I'm just curious, so it's a one-off pump design, is that correct?
Well, they make this type of pump, but it was a size in between standard lines of pumps. So they actually basically engineered a slimmer profile of their pump.
I assume that this type of pump has a life expectancy, and then you're going to have replacement parts or a full replacement at some point.
Yes.
So how does, with a piece of equipment like that sounds like it's fairly unique, how does the district make sure that it has an inventory or the ability to have those parts or full replacement equipment available in the future?
So the vendor that worked with us was a well-known pump supplier, Pentair. They actually have included this in their lineup of available products. So they created a new line of products, was tested on this. Pardon?
We help them.
Yes, in a sense. But
So we get royalty payments? Doesn't work that way.
This is a nitrifying side stream treatment project. This project intercepts high ammonia flows from the solid storage basins and a biosolids recycling facility. This project actually allowed us to reduce the size of the biological nutrient removal project, but different from the BNR process. It removes the ammonia, but it doesn't remove the nitrate. So what we found is the nitrate in that effluent, nitrate-rich product, can be used for odor control, and we use a nitrate product now. So this project will pump that effluent back up into our interceptors and allow us to reduce the amount of other odor control chemicals. So it's a very cost-efficient facilities. That's some additional structures related to the nitrifying side stream treatment project. Disinfection chemical storage project. This project will replace our existing gaseous disinfection and dechlorination system. That project is in two areas. This picture here is out at our dechlorination facility out near the town of Freeport, near the Sacramento River. We've installed chemical storage tanks and chemical feed systems. That project is currently in the commissioning phase, so we're doing startup and testing on that system. This is a similar system, but it's the disinfection chemicals storage and delivery. This is on the regional plant site. Some pictures of the metering pumps and control panels there. Biological nutrient removal project is starting to ramp up. They're starting to work on the underdrain system. So this is an underdrain system underneath the concrete tanks. A little bit more of a close-up. Basically, those are 48-inch underdrain pipes that are being installed under that basin. Part of that project includes a very large pump station to feed the biological nutrient removal process. That excavation is now about half full of water, unfortunately. This is a picture of what we call flow split structure. It'll take the feed from the primary pump station. It'll come up and flow into the BNR process. The holes in that structure, you can see the two of them kind of facing to the bottom right. Those are 96-inch diameter holes that feed big box conduits. Very large structure. So challenges for the program. I mentioned the disinfection chemical storage project is in the startup and commissioning phase. One part of that commissioning phase is called reliability acceptance testing. So we go through a reliability testing that's on process. Regional Sand operations staff actually operates that new system at that point. Prior to doing that, though, they need extensive training. They need to validate all the operational procedures and lockout, tagout type procedures, and that all happens during the commissioning period. So what we're finding, though, is we're having to schedule all of the staff. We have 3 shifts of staff, operations staff, that need to get trained on all of the new facilities before they can operate. And so it's been quite a challenge scheduling, getting their time. And this is all on top of their normal daily work activities that they do. So it's quite a scheduling feat, and it is definitely having impacts to staff availability. I mentioned maintaining plant operations. I talked a little bit in some examples. That is definitely a challenge, especially with this wet weather, but I think we've weathered through that. Has caused some delays to some of the projects, but I think we'll still be fine. Overall, program-wise, we're still good. And finally, we are we're still pushing the tertiary treatment design. Our schedule is to get that design completed by the end of this year and out to bid early in 2018. Some of the milestones I mentioned, we've completed 3 projects this quarter. We've also initiated design for a channel aeration blower project that's needed to support the biological nutrient removal process. We'll be coming to your board for final acceptance on those 3 completed projects. Those will be coming up in probably February and March. And we'll also be coming back to your board for approval to advertise in February for the heavy equipment maintenance building project. So in summary, overall the program is on schedule and we're on budget. Safety is still a top priority for us. We've been having a good safety record, knock on wood, and we'll continue to do that. Construction coordination with the plant operations definitely is a challenge. So that's continually changing with all the other tie-ins and the weather. And finally, startup and commissioning resources. We'll definitely need to pay attention to that and make sure we have available resources to make a smooth handover for these projects. With that, I'll take any questions.
All right, this is an information briefing. Are there any questions or comments from any of the directors? Seeing none, I have one question, Victor. You said there were 4 lost time injuries.
Yes.
Can you give us an idea of the magnitude of those or the seriousness of those? Were they deaths or sprained ankles?
No. They were things like strained shoulders. One of them was damaged ankle. He turned it stepping on a big dirt clod. Required a little bit of surgery. But nothing life-threatening.
Okay. Any other directors with questions or comments? Thank you very much. Oh, yes. You're good. Thanks, Vic.
Right.
Acting as your Sacramento Area Sewer District, you have your district consent matters, items 8 and 9.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Abstentions? Is there anyone here from the public that wishes to speak? Any directors with comments, questions? This meeting's adjourned. 17. It's supposed to be done at 15.